Time now for the Nick Hart Show, our weekly chat with the Gibson Southern Titans head football coach. The Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash is made possible by Matt Michael of AgriGold, Brett's Car Care, Chips Sell My Teas, Cox Family Eye Care PC, Daylight Land Management, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Gerald and Trudy Bledsoe, Hob Range Hood Company, Hobstadt Summerfest, Highdoorn Construction, Hilliard Lions, Matt Monroe, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, Johnson Commercial Mowing, Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solman Photography, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, Kissel Farms Incorporated, Lewis Plumbing and Heating, Make Your Mark, Mayflower Gardens and Gifts, MyTech Systems, Whole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Progressive Health Rehabilitation and Orthopedic Associates, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating LLC, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, South Gibson Grain, 10 Barge Seed, Trapping and Removal of Animal Pest, Titan Youth Football League, United Fidelity Bank, and by Ziliac Enterprises. Now, the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
Well, it's Tuesday night, and it's time for the Nick Hart Show. I am Bob Bowser, and joining me as head coach of the Gibson Southern Titans, Nick Hart. And, Coach, your Titans are now 5-2 overall and 4-1 in the Pocket Athletic Conference play after defeating Pike Central on Friday night 74-0. So let's take a look at the team and individual stats from the win for the Titans. Starting off offensively for your Titans, you amassed 546 yards of offense compared to 62 for Pike. Looking at the rushing yards, 358 yards on the ground for your Titans, 24 for Pike Central. Passing yards, 188 for the Titans, 38 for Pike Central. No turnovers, no fumbles, no interceptions. That's exactly what you're looking for each and every game. But for Pike Central, they did have an interception and a fumble lost for 2 total turnovers. Looking at the third down conversions, didn't have very many on this night. You were 1 for 1, a perfect 100%. I think you'll take the A+ grade right there.
Absolutely.
But penalty yards, only 3 penalties for 20 yards. I think you'll take that as well. Because in a game like this, I mean, yes, it was 74-0, but in a game like that, things could get a little chipper. You never know. And sometimes second man gets caught and some penalties end up happening. But that's not the way this game played out. Both teams played it out as well as it should have been played out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But looking at some of the individual stats here on the night, Brady Allen was 11 for 14, 78.6% rate, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So pedestrian night for Brady, but it wasn't needed on this night. No,
I thought he played well. We had a couple drops again. We just got to continue to catch the football better. But I thought overall, a pretty solid night for the passing game.
Well, Nathan Bowes was 1 for 1 for 6 yards. Looking at the rushing stats, Mitchell Spindler just picks up where he left off. 7 carries, 152 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Ben Butler had 2 carries, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 2 carries, 2 touchdowns, 104 yards. That's some big-time numbers right there.
Yeah, good yards per carry.
I'll take that average any day. I couldn't run 52 yards right now. But Ben Luttrell had 3 carries for 48 yards and a touchdown. Owen Bryant had 3 carries for 28 yards and a touchdown. Nathan Bowes had 2 carries for 24 yards. And Brady Allen had 1 carry for 2 yards, which was a touchdown. On the receiving end of things, Seth DeLong led the way here with 4 receptions for 103 yards and a touchdown. Ben Butler had 2 receptions for 26 yards and a touchdown. Adam May with two receptions for 21 yards. Logan Murphin with 2 receptions for 20 yards. Caleb Sellers had a reception for 12 yards. And Dylan Kidd has a reception for 6 yards. So the one thing I wanted to point out, while I said that Brady's stats were rather pedestrian, I think the big key is after the Heritage Hills game, in this game here, regardless of score, he got every one of the receivers back on target on Friday night at Pike Central.
Yeah, I thought we got the ball around to everybody well, and guys did a good job of doing stuff with it whenever they caught it. But again, we had a couple drops. Can't have those in big games because it kills drives. But overall, really good night by the offense. Thought we executed well. Ran the ball, extremely well. But overall, really good execution. Didn't miss a lot of assignments. No pre-snap penalties. A lot of that stuff that'll kill drives. So overall, a really good night.
Well, and a lot of people may be just hearing this show and didn't hear anything. Wasn't at the game Friday night, which, by the way, a large crowd for both sides on Friday night there at Pike Central for their homecoming. But they may be saying, how in the 74-0? Come on, what's the deal? Well, folks, the varsity only played a half. And it was 61-0 at halftime. The only negative probably in the entire first half of play were the 2 missed extra points. And Rory booted them well, just missed. I think one was wide to the right and maybe hooked the other one.
Yeah, I was really proud of the whole team. I think it's easy when there's a mismatch to come in and not play extremely clean. I thought our guys, and we need to play clean after what happened last Friday night. So I thought our guys had a great week of practice, came in, executed very well, and handled the game, very well. Didn't take anything for granted. Came out, played hard, and played a clean game.
Well, and then, the second and third units come in there in the second half, got their time, and they put 2 more scores on the board in the second half and did real well. I mean, even defensively, those kids come out, the younger kids come out and played very, very well.
Yeah, they did a great job whenever they came in after halftime, and they really have all year. We got a bunch of really good young kids, and they've done a great job when they've gotten their chance.
Well, let's look at the defensive side now as Max Beatles led the way. He had 4 solo, 4 assists, and 2 tackles for loss. Caleb Sellers had 4 solo, an assist, and 3 tackles for loss. James Minnie, I don't remember calling his name very many times here, but James Minnie with 4 solo. He had an assist and a tackle for loss, a forced fumble, and a sack. So a big night for James Minnie. Logan Maurer had 3 solo, an assist, and a tackle for loss. Carter Green had 2 solo and 2 assists. Tanner Moskos had 2 solo, 2 assists, and a tackle for loss. And Colton Stefanich, early in that first half, had a big-time interception out there playing center field as the safety.
Yep. We could probably put that on repeat, for you at the beginning there with Max Beatles leading the way in tackles. He's playing great football. I thought we did a good job on defense. We were assignment sound. We got lined up right, and I don't think I should be saying that here, after 7 games, but it's something that we haven't done well. I thought our guys executed well. We had a lot of tackles for a loss, for a football game, and we should have. So that we came out and took care of business the way that we should have on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, Coach, so let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll get your overall thoughts from Game 7 concerning the offense, defense, and special teams. But right now, we need to thank the folks that make the Nick Hart Show possible on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Pro Rehab, Pole Concrete Construction, MyTech Systems, Mayflower Gardens and Gifts, Make Your Mark, Lewis Plumbing and Heating, Kissel Farms Incorporated, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, Kathy Solman Photography, Julia's School of Dance, Johnson Commercial Mowing, and in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis. You love sports. You're your team's ultimate fan. Why not turn that passion into the ultimate career? Enroll now in the brand new Sports Marketing and Media program at Wabash Valley College. Learn how to use digital video and other media to add to the fan experience, how to engage fans on social media, and how to create excitement by hosting events and promotions. Get off the sidelines and into the game. Find out more about the WVC Sports Marketing and Media program online at www.iecc.edu or by phone at 618-262-8641.
Thank you for listening to 89.1 The Bash and the Nick Hart Show. All right, Coach, let's start with your thoughts. First off with the offense from week number 7. As they got things, momentum was going, and like we mentioned in the earlier segment, several different receivers, all 4 of the wide receivers, as well as Caleb Sellers as the H-back tight end that comes in. Every one of those guys caught multiple passes, so it was a good night for every one of them.
Yeah, it was. And I thought the whole offense, played clean. We talked about sometimes these type of games, it's the hardest, to play mistake-free. When we do that, we're really good on offense. And when we don't, you become really average. So it was great to see us come out, execute really well. No pre-snap penalties, no miss. I think maybe one missed assignment up front. Just came out and took care of business and did a great job of doing it.
Well, and let's talk a little. We haven't done it in any of the other weeks so far leading up to this one, but let's talk a little bit about your second and third units that come out there. Looking at Nathan Bowes and the little Energizer Bunny, Owen Bryant, which now I'm all messed up in the head that you pointed out to me last week. There's 2 of those Bryants out on the field. But so Owen Bryant and Ben Luttrell,
yeah.
Those guys have come in, but that offensive line that comes out there, those guys can run as hard as they want to run, but if that offensive line, if that second unit coming out there, second and third unit in some cases, if they don't open up holes, those guys are going to go nowhere, and they have a lot of success in these games that you've been putting them into.
Yeah, those guys have done a great job all year, and to be honest, we've been we just got one back this past week on that offensive line. Hope to get another one back soon. We've been kind of banged up, with that second unit or JV unit offensive line. We had other guys step up. A couple guys that have never played O-line before have stepped up and played on that side of the ball. And those guys do a great job, every week whenever they get a chance. And, it's a big reason why our JV team's undefeated as well, as they come out and do a great job on Monday nights. So, that second unit, does a great job. We have some great receivers, too, in that second unit. You don't want to throw it a lot in the situations like, we were in. And it's kind of unfortunate for those guys because, they deserve to get the ball a little bit. They get the ball on Monday nights. It was good to get Dylan Kidd, a senior who's worked really hard and come back from an injury this year. He got a catch there in the second half. That was good to see. But no, those guys do a great job when they come in the second half.
All right, let's go over to the other side, the defensive side of the football, where really from play number 1 throughout the entire ball game, whether it's the first unit, the second unit, or even possibly some third unit guys coming out there and getting a little bit of time. The offensive line of scrimmage, so the line of scrimmage definitely was set in their backfield,
yep.
and that's exactly where you want it to be.
Absolutely. I just thought, we probably could have got away with playing not sound football because we were physically better than them. But I thought we did a great job. You go back and look at tape. We did a great job, from our front 3 all the way back to the secondary. We were really locked in to our assignment, doing our job. And that's what it takes to play team defense. You got to have 11 guys doing their job every single play. And if there's one breakdown in that 11, things are going to go really bad for you because offenses, are designed to beat you if all 11 guys are doing their job. So, you have one break in that, and things can go bad in a hurry. So I thought our guys did a great job of staying focused even when we started getting, the game started getting away. Our guys, continue to do their job throughout the first half, and then, when the guys came in the second half, they continued to do a great job.
All right, so let's go over to the special team side of things. Really, when you look at it, kicking off the football, Rory did a fantastic job on kickoffs. I know after the first couple of times where you boomed it down, then you started working the sideline pooch type of style kick, trying to place it inside the 30, maybe inside the 35, and he actually did a very nice job of doing that.
Yeah, he does a great job. He works really hard at it. And Friday he was just probably a little off. He wasn't striking it as pure as he normally does. I mean, he just hits that thing pure every single time. So for it to be a little off and still do what he did, shows how good he is, and he did a great job the entire night for us.
Well, and then as we mentioned, we missed a couple of extra point kicks, which that's something new for him, because even when he got one clear back in week number 1, he got to boot one clear through last when he hit the 2 at Heritage Hills. And then this week, he had a lot of opportunities. He missed 2 of them out of the 9 opportunities that he had. So he was 7-2. You'll take a record of 7-2, but you also know that if this comes down and Rory's kicking in the postseason, you can't have that happen.
Right, and he'll work hard. He'll get it fixed. And it was, if the ones he missed were really close. It was hard to tell because he was kicking them up over the uprights. You couldn't tell exactly where it was going. No, he'll be all right. He'll be the first one in on Monday. Working at it and trying to get that smooth stroke that he's got back.
All right. So right now, Coach, let's go ahead and take another break here, as we're going to get ready for some Pocket Athletic Conference talk here to wrap up week number 7 and get prepared for week number 8. As you are listening to the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Progressive Health Rehabilitation and Orthopedic Associates, Roberts Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, LLC, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, South Gibson Grain, 10 Barge Seed, Trapping and Removal of Animal Pest, Titan Youth Football League, United Fidelity Bank, and by Ziliak Enterprises. Are you interested in learning how modern firearms are made and operated? Then the gunsmithing program at Wabash Valley College could be your silver bullet. Learn the basic knowledge and skills of gun repair and custom manufacturing. In our spacious lab, you'll build 3 modern firearms, a Model 1911 pistol, an AR-15 rifle, and a bolt-action rifle. Career opportunities include top manufacturers, law enforcement agencies, and more. The shooting industry is booming. Contact WVC to learn more at 618-262-8641 or visit www.iecc.edu/WVC.
Welcome back here to the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash. I am Bob Bowser, and joining me as head coach of the Titans, Nick Hart. So, Coach, let's talk Pocket Athletic Conference. And last week, on the first Friday in October, the first fall Friday of this season, Forest Park defeats South Spencer in a whale of a ball game. And we had said last week that we thought that would be a dandy, and it must have been, because Forest Park won 14-7.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a great game, and you kind of called that one last week about that being a great matchup. So good for Forest Park. I think maybe you'll go over the scenes. I think maybe they're 4-3 now, and rolling. So that's great for them and great to see.
And, of course, your Titans won 74-0 over Pike Central, as this was an all-conference affair on Friday, October the 4th. The big game, wow, this final score just blows my mind. Heritage Hills 42, Southridge 7, and that was a tight ball game in the third quarter. Matter of fact, I think it was a one-score game in the third quarter, and it ends up 42-7.
Yeah, I think it was 7-7 at half.
Yes, it was.
And Heritage Hills, pulled away in the second half, and just shows how good they are and how good a football that they're playing right now.
Well, and then the final game in the conference slate, Tell City, 43 points, defeats North Posey 43-20. Tell City is feeling it this year.
Yeah, we'll talk.
You don't
more.
like hearing about that right now.
We'll talk more about that coming up. But they came out and they jumped on North Posey big. Got some turnovers and stuff. Got the ball rolling and moved the ball really well. And North Posey made a run back at them, and then Tell City was able to kind of extend it out. But Tell City's playing really good football right now.
All right, so let's take a look at the standings as they are after week number 7. Heritage Hills on top here. They're 5-0 in the conference, 7-0 overall. Southridge is 4-1 in the conference, 6-1 overall. Your Titans are 4-1 in the conference, 5-2 overall. Tell City is 3-2 in the conference, 5-2 overall. Forest Park is 2-3 in conference play, 4-3 overall, as you had mentioned earlier. North Posey is 2-4 in conference play, 2-5 overall. South Spencer is 1-5 in the conference, 1-6 overall. And Pike Central is 0-5 in conference play, 0-7 overall. So that leads us up to Friday, October the 11th, week number 8. And looking at this, let's look at the out-of-conference games first here. Boonville at South Spencer. Man, I want to root for South Spencer in the biggest way. I mean, I'm not. It's even unspeakable. I can't tell you every reason why I'm rooting for South Spencer here. But come on, South Spencer, let's get the W for the PAC this week.
Yeah, it'd be great. And, for the PAC this week, next year, Boonville will be a PAC school with us. But
I'm already got saliva coming down the side here.
I think, if you kind of look at it, South Spencer's a team that's kind of gotten better throughout the season. Had another chance to win a ball game over Forest Park last week. So, Boonville's definitely a tough opponent, but like you said, we'll always root for our conference teams to do well in the out-of-conference games.
Well, and then North Posey is going to host Tecumseh on Friday night at 7 o'clock. This is an opportunity for North Posey to get themselves back in the win column and start pushing toward playoff time.
Yeah, and really get some positive momentum going into the sectionals, like you said, and I think they'll be able to go out and get the job done.
Well, and then the first conference game of the night on Friday, October the 11th, Heritage Hills will be at Forest Park. Heritage Hills is just playing so dadgum well. I mean, it's Heritage Hills on this night.
Yeah, they're so good. We talked about Forest Park's having such a great season, but Heritage Hills, just continues to roll along.
Well, for Forest Park, go out and play hard, go toe-to-toe, don't get anybody hurt, because then postseason, let's see what you got. I'm excited to see what they're going to bring to the postseason.
Yep.
And then Pike Central is at Southridge. Here again, another ball game. Southridge is at home. Southridge big in this one.
Yeah, and especially Pike Central gets us after we got beat by Heritage Hills, and they get Southridge after they got beat by Heritage Hills. So, and I think a lot of people might look at that as a little bit of a trap game for Southridge because they had Heritage Hills last week. They got us coming up in week 9. But Coach B and his staff are so good; they'll have their kids focused and ready to play.
And then, of course, that means there's one other conference game to note, and that will be the Tell City at Gibson Southern, which we'll talk about in our next segment. So, Coach, there's one more segment to go, which means it's time to get the listeners ready for Friday night as your team prepares to travel to no, they're not traveling. They're traveling to us.
We haven't had a home game in forever. You're just not used to saying that.
I tell you what, I hit that 50 mark a couple weeks ago. Well, it was the night of the Heritage Hills game, and it's been a struggle ever since. But either way, Tell City's coming to the Jewel. They're going to come to Jack Jewel Field for the final regular season home game of the season. But first, let's thank some of the underwriters of the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Hilliard Lyons and Matt Monroe, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobb Range Hood Company, Gerald and Trudy Bledsoe, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Daylight Land Management, Cox Family Eye Care PC, Chips, Sell My Tees, Brett's Car Care, and Matt Michael of Agrigold.
Interested in becoming a highly paid manufacturing professional? Industry is desperately seeking skilled technicians, people who can solve problems by using their minds as well as their hands. Those who communicate, work in a team environment, and solve problems using today's technology. At Wabash Valley College, we're making skilled professionals desiring a career, not just a job. What will you be making? To get started in the Advanced Manufacturing Program, contact WVC today at 618-262-8641 or visit iecc.edu/WVC.
Welcome back to the Nick Hart Show right here on 89.1 The Bash, or you may be using the free app to access the show on your cell phone. So, Coach, week number 8, your Titans will host Tell City at Jack Jewel Field for a 7 p.m. ball game. And we will have all the action live on 89.1 The Bash with pregame at 6:45 p.m. Now, the Marksmen, they'll enter this contest with a record of 5-2 overall, 3-2 in conference play, which that is a complete reversal. Last year, this time, they were coming in 2-5. Now they are 5-2, and they're putting some points on the board. What do you expect to see from them on offense?
Well, it'll be a good challenge for us. They run a lot of option stuff, with obviously we struggled with, at Heritage Hills a couple of weeks ago. So, a lot of veer, out of the flex bone. And I tell you one thing that Coach, does a good job of is he always gives you something that you haven't seen before, and it's usually really early in the ball game to see how you and your kids are going to adjust and make you adjust to something on the fly. It's kind of something we've noticed, from them on film is every game starting out there's something different, something new, different sets and stuff like that. So, I think that's one big thing for us early on. We're going to see something that we haven't practiced this week, and we're going to have to be able to follow our rules and adjust to things on the fly. And they do a great job with that. And doesn't, what I think what he does a great job of, it doesn't change anything for his kids. It changes stuff for the defense. He's still running beer or power or, belly or whatever. It's just out of, a completely different look. So, that puts some stress on the defense. And, they do a lot of things, but it's, like I said, I think they do a good job where they give you a lot of looks, but it's all the same to them. It's double tight wishbone. Then they'll go double split flex bone. They'll get in an overload. They'll get in the stacked eye. They do a bunch of, but they're running the same things. But you better adjust the right way. Where they're going to stay in it and have a lot of success. So they're very well coached, and they do a great job at what they do.
All right, so let's go over now. How are they going to stop your offense? What does their defense look like?
A lot of like the 4-2-5, is what I call it. We're going to see that 4-2 box, and they'll play some, a version of cover 4. They'll play some cover 1, kind of mix things up on you in the secondary a little bit. But I think they're really good up front on both sides of the ball, and they make things hard on you, and I think they'll bring some pressure every once in a while just to make you feel uncomfortable. But they're one of those defenses that we're going to line up and we're going to play fast, and we know what we're doing. You might know what we're doing a little bit, but we know what we're doing, and we're going to play fast and get to the football. So if you kind of look at their scores, other than the Heritage Hills and Southridge game, they haven't given up very many points. Their offense does a good job of controlling the ball and keeping the other offense off the field, and they play great defense, and I think that's how they want to win games. They want to win 14-7, and kind of control the game, control the clock, and play great defense.
All right, so let's go to the third and final phase, the special teams. What have you seen out of their kicking game?
Well, they go for 2 a lot. They'll kick every once in a while, but they've gone for 2 quite a bit. And kickoff guys, solid. They'll put it down to the somewhere between the 10 and the 15 most of the time, and they do a great job of covering it. And their punt formation's a little funky, and they got us. Barely, but they got us, on a little bit of a fake to get a first down last year. Something, it's just kind of funky. It's something you got to prepare for, and we did last year, and they just executed it really well. But we're prepared for that, and they're well coached. And anytime you play a well coached team, they don't make mistakes in the special teams, and they do a really good job with them.
So I think from what I'm hearing from you, it's really going to come down to whichever ball club executes the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's a great challenge for us. Heritage Hills is very good, and they executed really well. We did not execute well on defense against them the last time. So you're facing a different but similar offense, and it presents a lot of those challenges, of being assignment oriented, and who's got quarterback, who's got fullback, what are you responsible for, where are we supposed to line up at, all those types of things. You got to come out and do a great job of that in order to have success.
All right, Coach. So anything else from this week as we're running out of time here?
Yeah, we had a great week at the lower levels. Complete sweep. JV beat Heritage Hills. Freshmen beat Boonville, and 7th and 8th grade beat Mater Dei. So a program sweep on the week, and it was a great week.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll see you Friday night after the game on the post-game show. So good luck Friday night, and we wish the players the best of luck as well, as we would like to thank all of you for joining us here on 89.1 The Bash for the Nick Hart Show. And be sure to catch us each week at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night for your look inside Gibson Southern Titans football. Before we sign off, though, we would like to thank all of the supporters of the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show has been brought to you by Ziliak Enterprises, United Fidelity Bank, Titan Youth Football League, Trapping and Removal of Animal Pest, Tin Barge Seed, South Gibson Grain, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Sandy's Pizza, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating LLC, Progressive Health Rehabilitation and Orthopedic Associates, by Pro Rehab, Pole Concrete Construction, MyTech Systems, Mayflower Gardens and Gifts, Make Your Mark, Lewis Plumbing and Heating, Kissel Farms Incorporated, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, Kathy Solman Photography, Julia's School of Dance, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, Hilliard Lyons, Matt Monroe, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hob Range Hood Company, Gerald and Trudy Bledsoe, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Daylight Land Management, Cox Family Eye Care PC, Chips Sell My Teas, Brett's Car Care, and Matt Michael of AgriGold. The Nick Hart Show is a special production of 89.1 The Bash and the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department.